Made it to the store, get some oil. We went to a big box store, which doesn't mean I always get oil from these stores. I try to show the love, shop locally, mom and pop auto stores, online, all the auto parts stores. Going back to the section where the automotive is. And I do have company today. So, hang a left here, please, Lauren.
Okay.
We're going to be changing the oil on a 2018 Ford Explorer. And that requires 5W20. I tend to use Valvoline. I've had some luck with it over the years. I have 2 trucks with 500,000 miles on them almost, and it's been great. So here we have high mileage, which tends to have detergents in it.
But that's not 5W20.
You're right, I'm just going over the high mileage
That's
stuff.
5W20.
I'm glad you're here, Lauren.
I was paying attention.
Yes, you were. So, we have 5W20 down here, high mileage, and 61,000 miles. I wouldn't consider high mileage. We could buy that. It wouldn't affect anything. A lot of times they don't have what I'm looking for. Do you see any Valvoline regular high mileage? I mean regular synthetic blend? If not, we'll just get full synthetic. She's looking very closely.
This is full synthetic,
right?
But it's not Valvoline.
That's all right. It's Mobil 1. It's all good stuff. By the way, do you know what they call oil where I grew up from?
Oh.
Oh. Now, if you say it as just one word and you say oh, oh, it sounds like I sat on an ice cube. Oh. But if you put it in a sentence, it doesn't sound so bad. Like, Butchie went down to the oil store to get some oil. So that's the Baltimore way of saying it. Let's find some oil. I think I'm going to go ahead and we'll get the Valvoline 5W20 Advanced. It's full synthetic. The 5W20 is the weight of the oil, and I don't want to go into that today. You can find all that information online as long as it matches what you want your car uses, and that can be found in the owner's manual. But for some older trucks, I'll use a 10W30. It's a little thicker oil. So let's grab 2 of these because the Explorer takes 6 quarts of oil. That's 5. I usually buy 2 to get the deal. Full synthetic. Alright. We have 10 quarts of oil. Have 10 quarts of oil. And them some good prices there, hon.
Good.
As we were walking through the aisles, look what Lauren found. That's the oil I usually use. 5W20 synthetic blend. Let's get some of these. Put it in the cart. Do you want to put those back for me, Lauren?
Sure.
Thank you. Good price. We have oil filters over here. I typically buy them by bulk online, and I usually use Motorcraft, or I'll use Wix. You could go cheaper with Fram. All of this is listed online on which filter to use for your vehicle. You can actually take the filter off your vehicle and write down the numbers of the correct one that's on there now. But this gets overwhelming. So if you know what you're looking for, it's easier to find. I have all that at home in the garage. We're gonna move forward. Let's go down this aisle and see. This is pretty good. Just let me know if I'm gonna walk into something backwards. Okay. Couple good things to buy. Possibly a funnel if you don't have any. Some rags maybe. Wipes. And usually need, let's look back over here. A pan for your oil to dump into. We're gonna skip the air cleaners. I lost my wife. There she is. You want to ride in the cart?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna head up to the counter and check out. But can you think of anything else we need? Oh, that's right. You've never changed oil before. I'm asking the wrong person. Okay, that was our trip. We're going to go on our way back after we check out. We had to stop. Lauren found something for the kitties. What is that, Lauren?
It's beef and carrots.
Okay. And who likes that?
Moose likes it.
But what's the problem with moose?
I don't want to say.
Come on. What does it do to moose?
It makes them gassy.
Okay, so we stopped in the cat food. That's the great thing about going to a big box store to get the oil. Onward. We're eventually going to make it to the cashier.
All right, we're done.
We're back from the big box store. Starts with a W, ends with a mark. This is all the stuff. I laid it out so I know what I have. Make sure you have everything you need before you get started, especially wrenches, especially oil and filter. But I'm going to let Lauren show you what all of these things are. Are you ready to show them what they are, Lauren?
Ready.
Okay, go for it.
All right. So we have gloves, safety glasses for eye protection, a light so we can see what we're doing, 2 pans to catch the oil.
You skipped something.
Oops.
Funnels.
Funnel.
Or funnel.
2 funnels.
Yes.
Okay.
One's a backup,
Right. Just in case.
in case the other one's not fun anymore.
Okay. 2 things to catch the oil. Comes out of the oil filter
Mhm.
and the oil pan. I knew that. Metric wrenches. Not sure which one goes on the Explorer, but Joey will figure it out. Oil from the big box store. Oil filter. This.
Oil wrench.
Oil wrench.
Sometimes you don't need it.
This.
That's the same thing.
Okay.
It's just a different thing. Type.
And cheaters, so Joey can see what he's doing.
And a rag.
And a rag, because we're going to get messy.
Okay. So let's get started.
I'm ready.
Before we get started, I have a nice hoodie. I don't like to wear hoodies underneath when I'm doing this type of work if you get caught on something. Lauren is dressed nice. So we're going to change into our mechanic clothes. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You sure?
Yeah. Okay.
Get ready.
Okay.
Wonder Twin Powers, activate. Form of a backyard mechanic. This isn't right. Let's try it again. Wonder Twin Powers, activate. Form of a backyard mechanic. That's much better.
Yeah.
We're ready to go. 2018 Explorer. A couple things I didn't mention in the beginning. We joke around a little bit in here doing this type of work, but those things are very important. They're jack stands. Whenever I'm under a car, truck, once I jack it up, I always use a backup safety. Put jack stands under the frame, anywhere you can find. This Explorer happens to have pinch welds right on behind the front tire. That's where they recommend jacking this up. I'm going to try to place the jack stands somewhere under the front axle area. I'll see what I can do there. This Explorer has front spoilers that I can't squeeze under. Maybe I could 20 years ago. That's usually high enough to get me under here. I'm going to look for a place to put jack stand under the front subframe. You get in there, Lauren, and show what I'm doing there underneath. Right here, jack stand. I got it under subframe. There's plenty of room under here for me to work. I have another jack on the other side, but I'm not going to use it. I can get under here without jacking both sides. Whole thing came off. I'm going to take a funnel. I cleaned it earlier. Just put a little bit in there. That should do it. A little bit much, but it'll go down. Take the chance of a rubber seal sticking to the block the next time you go to change the oil. You don't want that to happen. We're under the car, of course, as you can see. This particular thing here, that is where air flows in through this front spoiler area, comes through here, and it helps cool the transmission. It was kind of a fix Ford put on these because the transfer cases on them were heating up and destroying the oil inside. So I'm going to take this off to get started. Here, reach back. Slide that out of the way. Can you see the bolt there? You want to hand me the camera? I'll show you the bolt.
Okay.
All right. Under here. Back of the oil pan. This bolt here looks like about a 13 millimeter. That's what has to come off. So to give you kind of perspective here, there's the tire on the passenger side. The back of the oil pan. You really can't mistake a drain plug for anything else. There is a drain plug on this for the transmission. That can't really be mistaken for an oil pan. So this actually was a 15 millimeter. So we're gonna, all right, put this on there. This drain pan out of here. See if we can get it into the drain pan. Put the wrench down. Always counterclockwise unless it's a reverse thread bolt, which you rarely run across. So it's counterclockwise. We're taking the plug out and we're going to let the oil fly. Ah, there it goes. Usually try to look. These are usually magnetic. They show maybe some metal, very fine pieces of metal. You never want to see large pieces of metal on your oil plug. I'm going to sit that down, let this drain, and I'll be right back. Couple things that I usually do while the oil is draining, which it's still draining. First of all, this is a fairly new car with lower miles on it. Drain plugs sometimes leak over time. Sometimes there's a plastic washer around the inside edge here that can be replaced, helps stop these from ever dripping. I'm going to put this one back exactly how it came from the factory. It seals okay. I don't get any leaks from it. I'm not gonna put a plastic gasket on other vehicles that are older. You can use RTV sealant. You actually have to put the plug in, put the RTV on it, which is a small amount of silicone, put the plug in, and you have to let it dry. So it's almost like a overnight process letting it dry. I've had vehicles that you had to do that or it dripped out of the other thing, if these are ever stripped, I've had seen vehicles, I haven't had any, but mechanics actually put them on too tight. They'll strip them, and they do make an oversized plug. You actually have to tap it out with a tap, thread it in there. It's a procedure. It has to be done straight, and a bigger plug will go in. It's a couple tips. While this is dripping, usually takes about 15-20 minutes to really drip, get everything out of there as much as possible. I usually go up top and I'll check fluids, other things, which I'm going to show you before we end this video. So we'll keep letting it drip a little bit more. We're ready. Put it back in. Thread it in clockwise. While you're doing this, it's a good idea to move your pan slightly out of the way. If the wrench slips off and you hit your pan, it splatters oil everywhere. So I'm going to tighten this up snug. And all snug is to me is when you feel it starting to resist, you can give it just a little bit extra little power. You're not putting any weight into it. That's what snug is. These do have torque specs. If you want to use a torque wrench, I'm sure it's online, your specs, but I'm good with that. The next thing I'm going to do, there's the filter. We're going to pull that filter off and let me get this situated here. I'll get that filter off. Try to show you. Drag the pan back over directly under the filter, and these things I can usually get them off by hand. That wrench, I think Lauren showed you earlier, or I don't know where it is. Of course, here it is. I'll turn the light too. This wrench, they make all different kinds of oil filter wrenches. If you have trouble getting them off, it slides over there, you tighten it, loosen it, whatever. They have ones that work off of a ratchet. Great stuff to get them off. I've had them where I had to poke a screwdriver through in order to get it off. It was on way too tight. So this one should be able to get off by hand. There it is. Turn it off here. Counterclockwise again. Lefty loosey, righty tighty, as you all know. And look at that oil. Not too bad. 5,000 miles. Take this off. Dump it in there. And try to get as much out as possible. Sit this down on a rag. Still going. And you all remember what we did with the original filter. We had it in a box. Already primed it with a little bit of oil in it. Let the rest of that oil drip out. Alright, we're ready for the new one. Now you never want to cross thread these. You put them on, try to get it started straight. You will feel resistance right off the first turn if you have them on crooked. And you just spin, and you never want to really crank down on these filters. So I'm going to spin it. until I feel it touch. As soon as I feel it touch and start to give me resistance, I'm going to hand tighten it about 3/4 of a turn to a turn. And that's about it. You never want to wrench these things on. They can get stuck on there and it can become a mess. That's it. Nice clean. I like the way they designed this. Sometimes you'll have filters that'll dump all over your frame and your frame's wet and it drips everywhere. This is a pretty good design. Let's go up top now. I put the oil that we took out of the Explorer in my recycling, 5-gallon recycle. Take that to your local recycler, dump it, don't put it on the ground. Don't dump it in the woods, whatever, don't do any of that. I do that as soon as I get up from underneath the car because I am guaranteed to kick this around the shop when it's full of oil and it will go everywhere. I've done it before. So anyway, oil in here. I'm going to clean this funnel because I'm probably going to use this one to put the new oil in. And we're going to take a look under the hood. Usually pop the hood from inside. It'll pop it up slightly. There's a lever under here to open your hood. As you know, these videos are to show the basic things to do for people who have never done this before. I'm not a professional mechanic, but it's good to show the simple things. How to open your hood, how to secure it. Lauren, if you want to step a little closer, show some things that I typically will look at when I'm down in this area here. I'll check the brake reservoir, see how that looks. Check the washer fluid for your windshield washer. Antifreeze looks good. I can put a little bit more in. I've not added any. It was a little low when I got this. Down in here, you can see down in here. Dipstick on this engine, that's how you would check the oil. You would wipe it with a rag, stick it back in, check it. This currently has no oil in it. And here is your oil. All of these have photographs. It's very hard to get them mixed up. You don't want to put oil in your coolant system, brake fluid in your washer, etc. It has happened. So most cars now, photos, pictures. Everything looks good. I am going to add some coolant now. And I think I need to add a little bit of washer fluid. This is made specifically for this vehicle. It says right in the owner's manual what you need to use. I actually even wrote it on top so it doesn't get confused with other vehicles. Some people believe you can mix all this stuff, the green with the orange. I follow what's in the manual. You can't go wrong that way. I'm going to add the washer fluid first. Now's the time to do it. Very little. I guess I'm going to wash my windows much. Snap that. Antifreeze. This was low when I bought the SUV, but it was only a little bit. These are notorious for the water pump, which is inside the engine, to start leaking and then you lose coolant. I have not lost any since I bought it. Again, a funnel. And it's only a little bit low. And looks good. Couple things about coolant while we're doing this oil change. This is 50-50. It's already mixed, half coolant, half water. You never want to use full strength coolant in your system It should be about 50-50 for most regions. And you never want to run the system with too much water, not enough coolant. In the winter, if this block freezes, it could crack. You never know. All right, I have a clean funnel. You want to come a little bit closer here, Lauren? Show them. The oil cap is in here. Make sure you have nothing on these funnels. If something drops down in your engine, you have problems. Would you like to do the honors of dumping oil in?
Yes, I would.
Now, I know from doing this before, this engine takes 6 quarts of oil. That's if it was totally dry from the factory. They haven't even put oil in it yet. So sometimes when you have that situation where the manual tells you 6 quarts, you don't want to put 6 quarts in. You want to put about 5 in, run the engine, let it settle at the bottom of the engine back into the oil pan, then check your oil and add accordingly. Never overfill. There's still oil in this engine, not much, but it's not going to take a full 6 quarts. So that's a tip. It's good to follow. How's it coming?
Good.
All right. That's 5 quarts of oil. That's good, Lauren.
Okay, take it out.
Yeah, it's going to drip on the car, so do it quick. Put the rag under it.
I'll do it the girl way.
You know, just make sure you don't drop anything down in there.
No drips.
Okay, take that over to the workbench and get it out of the way. And all you're going to do is put that cap back on. That's it. Counterclockwise, remember. I mean, clockwise, not counterclockwise. She even put it on so you can read it. That's impressive. All right, we'll do some more checks and things that I do during an oil change that you may want to do. You're going to want to run the engine a little bit, let it circulate through. When you first start it, if you have an oil pressure gauge, it may take 3-4 seconds for the oil to come up to pressure. That's totally normal. So we're running it through, letting it cycle through. I'm going to shut it off and allow the oil to drain back down into the pan so we can check it. Car had a few minutes to sit. Everything, gravity takes effect, oil goes back down in the pan. You get a pretty good reading. I'm going to pull the dipstick, give it a wipe with a clean rag, put it back in, seat it fully, and pull it out. And if you can see that, Lauren, knowing this vehicle, it is about 3/4 of a quart low. Put the dipstick back in, and I'm going to add a little bit more oil. If you notice on the side of these, see the oil? You can actually read how many quarts are in there. Makes it easy to pour. I'm going to add about 3/4 of a quart to it, roughly. That's a third. That's a half. That's 3/4. It was close. A little bit more. All right, that'll do it. That's about right where I want it. Looks good. Last thing I like to do before we button this up and finish, it's a good time to go around and just quickly hit some of your contact points where things latch with your favorite penetrating oil. Any type of penetrating oil works great. You can use WD-40. Follow me, Lauren. You want to get around here, I will hit a quick little squirt in there. Same thing all the way around. And what this does, keeps everything working well. Some of this stuff doesn't dry up. You can also do the hinges. Helps door squeaks, all that stuff. I recently did the hinges. I'm not going to do them again. And what do you think? We almost done?
I think so.
We're done. And I want to show you the last step you want to do on a newer vehicle. It may or may not have this feature. I'm going to push over, go down to settings, vehicle, look for engine oil reset. There it is, engine oil reset. I would not go by this oil life. I think I have about 5,000 miles on this oil change. With the quality of the oils, the really good stuff, you could go 5,000-6,000 miles. It's fine. This would probably add another 1,000, maybe even 2,000 miles if I followed this remaining life. I'm going to reset it. Just hold the OK button, and it's reset back to 100%. Go back and put it on the screen. It was. That's the reset.
That dinner was great.
Thanks, I'm glad you liked it.
What was that appetizer you made?
Buffalo chicken dip.
Wow, two totally different animals in the same dip, and it tastes so good.
Yeah, it doesn't really work that way.
Oh. You ready to go home?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, I think I left the shop lights on anyway. All right, you ready?
Yep.
After the hop, take us to the shop. Oh man, where did she go? Not again. I hope she made it home all right.